Liam thought he had it all. A stable job in Berlin, a stylish apartment overlooking the city skyline, and Ava, the woman he believed was his soulmate. She was charming, intelligent, and seemed genuinely devoted. From the outside, their life looked perfect. Friends envied their relationship, colleagues admired their balance, and even strangers would comment on how in love they seemed. But beneath Ava's smiles and soft whispers, something was wrong. Liam noticed the little things at first: her phone always on silent, sudden late nights at work, excuses that didn't add up. He wanted to trust her, to believe she was just busy, just caught up in her own world. But deep down, a small voice in his gut whispered, something isn't right. One rainy evening, Liam returned home earlier than usual. He had planned a surprise for Ava, her favorite Thai takeout, candles, and a movie she had been talking about for weeks. As he stepped into the apartment, the faint glow of the living room lamp caught his attention. And then he saw her, a man, casual, confident, sitting on their couch. Not a colleague, not a friend, someone Liam had never met. He froze, his heart thudding in disbelief. Ava laughed softly at something the man said, leaning close to him. Her hand brushed his arm in a way Liam had thought was reserved for him. For a moment, Liam couldn't move. He felt the world tilt sideways. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't coincidence. Ava was cheating. He left without a word, stepping back into the rain, trying to process the shock. His thoughts spun wildly. How long? Why did she ever really love me? The night swallowed him as he walked aimlessly, replaying every smile, every promise, every I love you she had whispered. By morning, Liam's mind was a battlefield. Anger, betrayal, and heartbreak clashed inside him. But beneath it all, a seed of determination grew. He didn't want just to confront her. He didn't want to break down. He wanted answers, and he wanted to regain control of his life. The first step was observation. Liam began noticing Ava's patterns, her schedule, the places she claimed to be, the small inconsistencies in her stories. Every detail was a piece of a puzzle, and he was determined to solve it. It wasn't easy. Ava was careful, almost too careful, and the man, someone named Derek, was charming and unpredictable. But Liam was methodical. He noted the times she was unusually quiet on her phone, the sudden meetings she never mentioned, and the friends who suddenly seemed to disappear from her social circle. A week later, he found a clue. A photo, accidentally sent to his old email account. Ava and Derek, at a small cafe Liam had never known she visited, laughing closely, intimately, proof, clear as daylight. Liam stared at the image for a long moment. The anger was sharp, but it was mixed with clarity. He wasn't going to scream. He wasn't going to cry. Not yet. He would wait. He would gather more. And when the time came, Ava would see that every lie had a consequence. The storm inside Liam had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. The days after Liam discovered the photo were restless. He couldn't eat properly, sleep seemed impossible, and every thought revolved around Ava and Derek. But unlike the storm of heartbreak he initially felt, Liam began thinking strategically. Anger alone wouldn't serve him. He needed control, clarity, and proof that couldn't be denied. He started small, observing Ava without letting her notice. He noticed the subtle changes in her routine, the way she lingered near certain cafes, the way she checked her phone more than usual, and the way Derek's name slipped into conversations she thought he wouldn't hear. Liam documented everything: screenshots of messages, social media interactions, and even notes about times she claimed to be busy. Each detail was a piece of a puzzle. Then came the breakthrough. One evening, Liam borrowed an old spare phone and installed a tracking app, not invasive, just enough to confirm her movements. He noticed Ava leaving work late, taking a route Liam didn't know, and meeting Derek at a quiet, upscale bistro. He kept a safe distance, observing from a nearby street. Derek reached for her hand. She smiled. They shared a laugh that Liam had never shared with her in months. Liam's chest ached, but he held his composure. He didn't rush in. He didn't yell. This wasn't about a confrontation, it was about clarity and proof. He snapped a photo from a safe distance. Derek, Ava, the intimacy undeniable. Back home, Liam analyzed every detail. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was premeditated. Ava had created an elaborate routine, hiding messages, building a secret life. Derek wasn't just a fling, he was a calculated part of Ava's deception. Liam realized the depth of their duplicity, and then he began to plan. This wasn't about revenge for the sake of revenge. Liam wanted to reclaim his dignity, expose the truth, and make sure Ava and Derek understood the consequences of their choices. But he would do it smartly, methodically, without losing himself in the process. He reached out to a close friend, Mara, someone he trusted completely. Together, they brainstormed ways to document the affair without putting Liam in danger or alerting Ava. They decided on a series of recordings and timed photos of evidence that would be undeniable and public if necessary. Liam's plan was taking shape, step by step. They would build a case so airtight that Ava and Derek couldn't escape the fallout. The most difficult part wasn't collecting evidence. It was pretending nothing had happened. Liam maintained his calm demeanor around Ava, texting her like everything was normal, attending social events together, smiling at her jokes, and even planning a small weekend getaway. Ava noticed nothing. Derek noticed nothing. Liam's heart remained guarded, his mind focused. By the end of the week, Liam had enough material to confront Ava, not yet in public, but enough to make her nervous. He reviewed the photos, the screenshots, the patterns, and everything lined up perfectly. Each day, each small observation, each meticulous note brought him closer to control, closer to truth, and as Liam stared out at the Berlin skyline one evening, he realized something crucial. This wasn't just about exposing a cheat. This was about reclaiming power, reclaiming respect, and taking a stand for himself. The storm had shifted. It was no longer merely heartbreak, it was the beginning of something bigger. Liam was no longer just the betrayed boyfriend. He was a strategist, watching, waiting, preparing for the moment the truth would finally be revealed. The weekend arrived, and Liam knew it was time to escalate. Ava had suggested a casual dinner with friends at a trendy rooftop bar overlooking Berlin. To everyone else, it was a harmless social gathering. To Liam, it was an opportunity. He arrived early, scanning the venue from a corner. Ava entered moments later, radiant as always, completely unaware that Liam had pieced together every secret she thought she had hidden. Derek arrived shortly after, wearing his confident grin, unaware that he was walking into a trap meticulously set. Liam's calm demeanor was disarming. He smiled, laughed at Ava's jokes, and appeared completely relaxed. But his mind was a whirlwind of strategy. Every movement, every glance, every interaction was being catalogued. Liam had hidden cameras in his coat pocket, small, inconspicuous devices that would capture every whisper and touch. The night progressed. Drinks were served, laughter floated across the rooftop, and Derek leaned closer to Ava, whispering things Liam didn't need to hear. But this time, Liam didn't just watch silently. He positioned himself strategically. So the cameras caught everything, each hand brushing, each flirtatious whisper, each stolen smile. Ava laughed at something Derek said, completely oblivious to Liam's presence. She reached for his arm, and Liam's chest tightened out with jealousy, but with cold, calculated focus. He wasn't here to yell. He was here to expose the truth. At one point, Ava excused herself to the restroom. Derek stayed at the table, checking his phone. Liam used the moment to activate an audio recording device hidden nearby. Every word, every laugh, every subtle betrayal was being documented in real time. By the time Ava returned, Liam had enough evidence to confirm the depth of their deceit, but he didn't confront them yet. Timing was everything. The plan was bigger than a single outburst. It was about total clarity, total exposure. Later, as the night wound down, Liam suggested a short walk. Ava hesitated, but he insisted, smiling innocently. Outside, under the dim glow of the streetlights, he let the conversation drift toward trust and honesty in relationships. Ava tried to deflect, but Liam steered the topic with subtle precision. "You know," Liam began calmly, "I've noticed some patterns lately. Things that don't quite add up. Things I think you should explain." His voice was steady, almost to calm, and Ava's confident facade faltered. Derek, sensing tension, finally spoke up. "Liam, what are you talking about?" His casual grin wavered. Liam's eyes locked on Derek's, steady and unyielding. "I think we both know exactly what's been going on," Liam said softly, "and I've got proof." Ava's smile froze. Derek's confident posture faltered. The air was thick with anticipation, the quiet hum of Berlin streets around them making every second stretch. Liam reached into his coat pocket, subtly showing a glimpse of the device recording everything. The moment was electric, charged with betrayal, guilt, and fear. For Liam, this wasn't about humiliation yet. It was about control. By exposing their behavior in a calm, calculated way, he ensured that the next steps would be entirely in his favor. He was no longer the victim. He was the one orchestrating the revelation. As they walked back to the rooftop bar, Liam already planned his next move. He would ensure that Ava and Derek's secret would be undeniable, inescapable, and irreversible. The game had begun, and Liam held all the pieces. The weekend after the rooftop dinner, Liam knew it was time for the big move. He had gathered every piece of evidence, photos, screenshots, recordings, and the subtle video clips from the restaurant. Every lie Ava had whispered, every secret meeting with Derek, every betrayal documented, undeniable, and perfectly timed. He didn't confront Ava privately this time. No, this had to be public. He wanted their friends, colleagues, and anyone who had admired their perfect relationship to witness the truth. Liam invited a small group of friends to his apartment under the pretense of a casual game night. Ava thought it was innocent, even charming. Derek assumed Liam had no idea, continuing to act confident and relaxed. The night began normally. Drinks were poured, laughter filled the room, and the group played games as usual. But Liam's calm, collected demeanor hid the storm beneath. He waited for the right moment, watching Ava and Derek closely. Their casual flirtations, once hidden, now felt exposed in the intimate apartment setting. Then, Liam hit play. The room went silent. The footage from the rooftop bar, the cafe, the subtle recordings all displayed on the TV screen. Ava and Derek's laughter, whispered secrets, hand brushes every moment captured and laid bare. Gasps filled the apartment. Phones were raised. Some people whispered to each other, some stared in disbelief. Ava's face went pale. Derek's confident smirk vanished. For the first time, they realized Liam hadn't just suspected they had been observed, and the proof was undeniable. "You thought this was just between us," Liam said softly, standing in the center of the room. "You thought no one would see, that your lies would stay hidden." The tension was unbearable. Ava's lips trembled. Derek's jaw clenched. Friends who had once admired them now stared with shock and judgment. Liam felt no rush, no need to yell. The calm in his voice carried more weight than any scream ever could. He played another clip. Ava's whispered excuses, Derek's boastful reassurances, their calculated attempts to cover tracks. Every lie, every betrayal, laid bare. The truth was no longer a secret. Ava tried to speak, to excuse herself, but the room had grown quiet enough to hear the cracking of her voice. Derek tried to intervene, but Liam's steady gaze pinned him in place. "I think it's clear," Liam said, "that trust doesn't survive where deception thrives. And now, everyone here can see exactly what I've known all along." The aftermath was instantaneous. Friends murmured, some left the room, others confronted Ava and Derek with questions they had never dared to ask. Their carefully curated image, the perfect couple everyone envied, had been shattered. For Liam, the satisfaction wasn't just in revenge, it was in reclaiming control. He had taken the chaos, the heartbreak, and the deception, and turned it into clarity, exposure, and justice. That night, Ava and Derek left in humiliation, their world suddenly smaller, their confidence eroded. Liam watched them go, a calm resolve settling over him. He wasn't cruel, he was measured, strategic, and now, finally, the scales had shifted. As Liam sat back down with the friends who had supported him silently, he realized one truth: betrayal may wound, but planning and patience turn pain into power, and he had never felt more in control. The storm had passed, but the calm that followed was stronger than any rage. Liam's journey wasn't over, but the pivotal victory, the public exposure, was complete. After the public exposure, Liam felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Ava and Derek were humiliated, their carefully constructed lives shattered. But seeing them go through it didn't completely heal the wound inside him. The real victory, Liam realized, wasn't just making them pay, was reclaiming himself. In the following weeks, Liam focused entirely on his life. Work, friends, and personal growth became his priority. He didn't stalk Ava or Derek. He let the social consequences speak for themselves. Ava's social circle shrank. Whispers of her betrayal spread, and Derek's arrogance was replaced by caution. The world now knew the truth, and Liam no longer needed to prove anything. One evening, Liam received a message from Ava. It was short, trembling, almost pleading. I never realized how much I hurt you. Can we talk?" Liam stared at the screen. Part of him wanted to respond with anger, to unleash all the words he had restrained. But another part reminded him of the lessons he had learned in the value of patience, self-respect, and calm strategy. He typed a single, measured reply. "Some lessons are learned too late. I hope you understand what you lost." No pleading, no begging, just truth. That was enough. Liam put the phone down and walked outside, the Berlin skyline glowing under the evening lights. He felt free. Months later, Liam's life had shifted completely. He had become more confident, more focused, and more independent. Friends admired his resilience, colleagues respected his professionalism, and strangers would comment on his composed, magnetic presence. Liam had transformed heartbreak into growth, betrayal into clarity, and anger into calm determination. Ava and Derek, meanwhile, were just names in the past. They reached out occasionally, but Liam never responded. He had no interest in revisiting the pain. Theirs was a story of mistakes, consequences, and lost opportunity. His was a story of survival, learning, and ultimate empowerment. One day, sitting at a quiet cafe with a book in hand, Liam smiled faintly to himself. The world was intact, the sky still wide and open, and he was free. Free from lies, free from betrayal, free from the chaos that had once consumed him. He had won not by confrontation, not by anger, but by patience, strategy, and unwavering support. In the end, betrayal may wound, but control, clarity, and dignity rebuild a life stronger than ever. And as he looked across the street, seeing strangers laugh, walk, and live their lives, Liam realized the ultimate truth. He had moved on, and the past no longer had power over him. For him, the storm had ended not with rage, but with peace.